Hey guys, Jay. Welcome back to the channel, and my camera's off center, but that's okay. Once again, I gotta apologize for the camera. Um, guys, it's not my intention to do these things. My my regular camera died. Can you believe that, guys? My regular camera died, and it's just so frustrating when these things happen. Unfortunately, we have to go. We have to roll with the punches, and this is what we have to deal with. So, guys, tonight, lots of things to talk about. Um, to be perfectly honest with you, we're not going to concentrate on uh, something. We're not going to concentrate on that. What I really want to do is bring in some special guests tonight, and I'm really excited about these because, truthfully, I'm a huge fan of action figure photography. I'm not talented enough to do it, but I love looking at action figure photography. And you know, this gentleman who's a wonderful friend of the channel, he's brought some one great energy, and you know what? He's even given me some amazing tips. From action figure leaks that have happened. In the year past, and I've really been grateful for his help. For a lot of things. So that's what I want to concentrate on. We will touch on the controversies that's been happening over this past weekend. But before we get into that, let me go ahead and bring in my special guest today. My first guest today is a regular on the channel. He's always here, adding commentary, adding color commentary, and we don't know if he's actually going to be inebriated yet or not. We're going to find out. But guys, please help me welcome Toy Connections to the stream. What's going on, Ken?
Whoa, that light just looks terrible. Like I totally relaxed and chilled out and thought, it won't be that bad. I see myself on camera and it just looks terrible. How's my audio? Is it as bad as I look?
Audio's fine. Audio's
Okay.
fine.
All right, good.
You're totally chillaxed. You got a beer? What's going on?
Damn, I left the beer in the other room.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
If I suddenly disappear and come back, then you'll see me drinking a little something.
All good. All good. Ken, you didn't have time to meet him, but I want to bring in our next special guest. And honestly, I'm so impressed with his work. Ken, I don't know if you are familiar with his work, but guys, definitely help me welcome very good friend of the channel, Emerald Knight Photo. What's going on, John? How are you doing tonight? How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, my friend. Very, very excited. So this is Ken from Toy Connections. Of course, that's John from Emerald Knight Photos. Guys, I don't know if anybody has already, but definitely subscribe to both these guys' social medias. Toy Connections does wonderful retrospectives on toys from our shared past, and of course, he's always up for a wrestling match whenever possible. He's got the belt handy. He's ready to throw down. And Emerald Knight Photos, we're going to take a look at some of his work today.
I just followed you back on Instagram. I noticed sometimes you like my photos, and I thought it already it's one of those cases. I'm not as good at social media as I pretend to be. So I was like, I already follow him. No, I don't. But now you have 1,121 followers instead of 1,120. So I broke your even number, but it was going to be broken at some point. So anyway.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So guys, we're going to take a look at John's stuff very, very soon. But let's get the elephant out of the room because this is we did a whole live stream, Ken. We did a whole live stream yesterday. Okay. It was just 2 hours of just talking about and you know what? Let me let me be clear first. That's not gonna work.
I needed some background decoration, and I literally, after watching a Jay Bartlett review, I just picked this up at the mall, not even an hour ago, and it won't stay on the headboard.
You're gorgeous. Don't worry. Don't.
No. Michael J. Fox is more in his prime, is more gorgeous than I.
That may be. But you're gonna be fiddling around with that thing. It's the whole thing. It's not time for a photo shoot yet. All right. So, pardon me, guys. I'm gonna have to grab. So. We did an entire live stream yesterday, and let me get this out. Let me preface this right now. I've gotten a lot of comments from people who probably did not watch the full video. The whole discussion. No one is attacking Scott. Okay, that's something that has to be very, very clear. No one's attacking Scott. As a matter of fact, if you go through the video, I go through it twice. I go through it twice to remind everybody that we are all actually mainly concerned with the state of Master Universe, right? We're concerned that he might be right. To be perfectly honest with you, that's actually what we're concerned about, that he actually might be right. But through that concept, through that idea, what we're trying to do is we are trying to extrapolate the evidence that we have right now, right? The kind of announcements that have happened in the last 3 months. The sales that have been happening, what's been going on in Mattel Creations, and we're just trying to see if there's a real solid proof that Scott is correct. And our overall discussion was all about that. But it seems to have hit a nerve. Okay. It seems to have hit a nerve, and it's hit the chord that, honestly, if there's anything that Scott has done, okay, it's he has brought attention, right, to the wider MOTU community to wake up. All right. And this is something that we have to be grateful for. I think that this is something we really need to address, right? If anything comes out of this, Scott has actually brought attention to the MOTU community that this is a possibility, that something might happen in the next year. And if we don't do something soon, we might not have MOTU on the shelves again for a very long time. And because of his efforts on that, in my opinion anyway, and I'm going to put this out to you, do you guys think that the groundswell he's created over the past couple of days, is it enough to actually get Mattel's attention? What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because honestly, I think that there's a huge possibility that Mattel actually might be watching. I'm going to get some tea. I'm going to put that to you two guys. What do you
Go ahead, John. You first.
Kind of. I heard about a little bit of that. I think late last year, as far as the line possibly ending in 2023. And for me, I was just like, oh man, that sucks, because I'm just getting back into collecting and getting back into MOTU. And I mean, some of the stuff he was saying, I mean, and some of the things I've been looking at, I mean, I don't think it's not, I don't think it's really that possible. And even the stream that y'all had the other night, I mean, it was just, yeah, they announced Snake Mountain, they announced Eternia, all these other future releases coming out here soon. I mean, I just don't see the end really coming. But again, I mean, it's possible. Yeah. I mean, maybe somebody at Mattel might be sitting there going, yeah, I mean, it's, let's listen to this guy, or let's just, let's see what, maybe we should just pack it up, or at least go to more of a online type of distribution and just do, mainly for the collector, sort of perspective. So
I'm sure that he's got their attention to some degree. Whether they'll say it publicly, I'm not sure. But look, how many TV series out there were we not sure we're going to get another season?
Right.
And it could be the same thing with MOTU Origins. They don't know about the future, right? Like, one of my favorite sitcoms of all time is Community. After like the third season, were we going to get a season 4? They got a season 4, then a 5, then a 6. Now it's 6 seasons and a movie. You know what I mean? Right. And I'm sorry, I'm before anybody asks, I'm more Brita than I am Annie. So it's just, that's a whole nother discussion. right there. Maybe because the actress is so awesome overall, not just the character. But I guess you watched that show, which is why you're laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was one show that comes to mind, that like, oh, we're going to get another season. Are we going to get another season? How many series, on Netflix they were going to get canceled, or they did get canceled after 2 seasons, then got picked up? I could think of a lot, right? I mean, Designated Survivor comes to mind because I was a big Kiefer fan, though they only extended that 1 season after cancellation. But if you only get another, say, a couple more years of MOTU Origins, I mean, how many modern lines are gone after a few years, right? Even classics didn't last forever, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's going to end at some point, right? But what I said the other night on the stream that you may have seen, you may not have seen, John, is that what if it ends and then they rebrand it as something else? I looked downstairs and my War for Cybertron Transformers got rebranded into Legacy. I carried on. It was the same scale, same style.
Right. I mean, and that, yep. And that's very possible. And I like that take that you did on the stream and saying that. I mean, it could just be rebranded, or, instead of Masterverse, maybe it's called, something else, or maybe they just go all in on the new Eternia type of branding. But, that sort of deal. I mean, yeah, I mean, I would prefer, if it would kind of stick around than just gonna go away and then reset for, X amount of years and then come back as something new. Or rather just keep keep going. But if this is all we get, you know, and if it ends, go ahead.
I mean, if a big department shut down, like if all of a sudden they shut the boys department down because it was sold to a bigger parent company, that would be different. But as long as they have the resources to do it, I mean, some people are talking in the chat about like Queen Marlena. We haven't seen her in Origins. We haven't seen her in Masterverse. In fact, I think the last time we saw her was the pricey Classics version that had the Captain Glenn outfit with it that was packaged with Cringer. There's so much potential still. So, I mean, the only reason you don't do something is if you don't have, one, if it's not profitable, which I can't see why it wouldn't be. I don't have sales numbers to say it factually. Or if you don't have the resources, like you need your bandwidth to do something else. Right? So, but that would be a big shakeup, a big internal company shakeup. So anyway, sorry, I might have cut you off there before you finished.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad that we got to connect because I do see your name on Instagram before here and there. So
yeah. Oh, appreciate that.
I'm just flashing some people's names on the screen because as normal.
Yeah, I see some great names in the chat.
100%.
I see my boy Zazel there. I see Nolan. I see a lot of folks.
Yeah, all great supporters of all of our channels. But guys, definitely follow Emerald Knight if you guys can. You're gonna be surprised. You're gonna be shocked when you see some of the stuff that he's got.
Oh yeah, I just did a quick look.
My personal take. We will be taking a very close look at Emerald Knight, and I think you guys will be very, very impressed. My personal take on what's been going on is, at the very least, pardon me, guys, I'm still I got my tea still boiling, but at the very least, I didn't think my cough would come back right when we're streaming. At the very least, it has brought attention back to MOTU, and if they were actually considering, taking the line down at retail, and this is the thing we got to remember: Scott's very smart. And the way he's worded the video, the first video, it was really in like an overarching idea of retail, like big box retail. He's very careful not to talk about fan channels. He's extremely careful not to talk about fan channels. He's extremely careful not to talk about Mattel Creations. He doesn't mention at least he might touch on it really, really carefully, but he doesn't really say definitively that Master Universe is dead. And even at the end, he's very careful to say, you know what, if this happens, I'll be eating my words, and I'll be happy to apologize for putting this out. But the reality is, he is a Mattel. He was a Mattel executive, so he does have some insights. Going back decades, right? At least a decade.
And yes, they're making Snake Mountain. Gun 7469.
But the important thing for us to realize is that the announcements that have been made are probably going to go through. Like, I think Snake Mountain is going to come to retail. Where though? Because funny thing about I don't know if you guys did you actually find any of you guys actually find Castle Grayskull in the wild? Either of you?
Yeah,
I did. Yeah,
a lot of times on clearance even,
or
on sale.
But when it was first announced, it was almost impossible to find Castle Grayskull. Like it was a really difficult thing. And then I think because of I think it was just the distribution problems with Mattel. And then fast forward a year later, it was everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And that I think is the concern that a lot of people have been.
I'm stone sober. I might just be a little tired.
And I think that's the thing that everyone.
I can go camera off if it's easier. So whatever.
You look gorgeous, man. You look gorgeous. Don't worry. You don't have to turn off your camera, Ken. What the hell? The hey Juan, what's going on? All the way from Puerto Rico. Thank you. So welcome, my friend. I think Scott, as always, is trying to let everybody know that change is coming, and I think that's the biggest message that he had to bring. But unfortunately, we're not here to talk about the first video. We're actually here to talk about the second video. I watched it, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. Actually, it was Ken. Ken actually is the one who said, "Jay, you should check out this video." I'm like, what now? So I was expecting a huge rebuttal. I was expecting him to say something, which was meaningful and concise and on point. Which is very much his MO. He's very much, he's a smart individual. What we got was something I had no idea what I was watching. I don't like. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty of it. But what were your first reactions? I'm going to start with John. John, what was your reaction to this video? Like, seriously, I'm just I don't know. What was your reaction?
I mean, it seemed kind of like a, not really an apology, but he was almost like doubling down almost. And I mean, I know a little bit. I mean, I've went back and watched a couple of his videos, and I've seen again, kind of he's been kind of, you know, putting this on for like almost a year now, as far as, you know, the end of MOTU, the, you know, Mattel, you know, canceling both Origins and Masterverse. But it just seemed like he was just like, you know, could happen or couldn't. You know, I mean, it's just, I could eat crow and, you know, everything goes on. And if MOTU keeps on going, then great. I mean, that's, I mean, I love MOTU and I want it to keep going. And, but if, you know, just guys, just be prepared. It may not, April 1st will get here and then it's going to be off the shelves, off the pegs. And I don't know. I mean, I was kind of like, okay, well, not really saying a whole lot there. I mean, you kind of just trying to CYA, you know, to a certain extent to make sure that, you know, you're not, you know, doesn't come off as you being a liar or you know, spreading misinformation. And then the stuff at the end was kind of like, okay, are you truly trolling now with all this? I mean, because it was like the last 4 or 5 minutes of the video of just just that the, you know, malicious song and everything. So it's just, it was off. It was kind of weird. And yeah, but that's the way I kind of looked at it. So it was just something him just trying to cover his butt pretty much.
Ken, what are your thoughts?
Okay, it was like he had nothing new to add. It was like, well, what if I'm wrong? And then it was like 3 minutes of song at the end, some Prussia, you know, stuff. And it was like, you didn't really add anything here. You're just making a sequel video for clicks. And I know a lot of people have kind of rebutted Jay, and you can jump in anytime, Jay. They say, no, they don't think Scott's smart at all. He might be a little like, he might be playing us a little, if that's the definition of smart. And it's working to some degree, given the reactions he's getting. That's what he wants. I think he knows his reputation is polarizing and he's playing off of it. I mean, he might be setting us all up to suddenly say, it's April 1st, April Fools, and I teed this up back in January. Like, I could just see it.
Yeah.
Just see him doing that. You know, I don't really understand the purpose of the second video other than to glom off of the clicks of the first video. Maybe do a little bit of a disclaimer of, okay, what if I'm wrong? But it was a bit cheeky, right? Like, it's like, what if I'm wrong? Yeah, so what? Okay, sure. It's hard to even know what to make of it, but we're here talking, so it must have worked to some degree.
For me, it seemed very knee-jerkish. You know what I mean? It was too fast. I mean, like, and it's obviously hit a chord. I mean, people who aren't even MOTU collectors, like, sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. People who are not, people whose social media are not focused on MOTU, right? Like, right, Rodimus Primal. Rodimus Primal is 100% a Transformers channel, and he decided to chime in on it. There's something going on when Rodimus Primal decides to chime in on a MOTU, kind of idea. You know, we got hijacked yesterday by some Mattel executive. You know what I mean? And he, you know, he's trying to tell us that something's up, right? Like, there are multiple things. By the way, if anybody didn't see that, definitely go watch yesterday's stream. Literally, Fred from Mattel decided to tell us where to go. It was just a very, very funny situation on that level. But today's video, dare I say it, it seemed almost like he was like having fun at everybody else's expense. Like, truthfully. And you know what? That's where I think he's broken character. Like, again, I've always regarded Scott as being somebody who's very intelligent, you know, very, very, what's it called? Honest. And there was just, yesterday's video broke that. I don't know where that came from. You know what I mean? And I sort of wonder if he's just having fun now. You know what I mean? Just because he knows something we don't. I don't know. It's something along those lines. But I really do hope that, you know what, not that he's right. That's the last thing I hope. I hope he's not right. I'm going to come out and say that. I hope he's wrong. I really, even he said it. He said he hopes he's wrong, right? That's the craziest thing about this. He wants to be wrong. But I don't know. He's not garnering any goodwill with the community right now. There's so many people out there who want him to fail. You know what I mean? What are you guys' thoughts about that? Like is he digging a hole for himself? John, what do you think?
I mean, I think again, not knowing too much of his history, but kind of just from what I've read here and there, it seems it does come off as sour grapes a little bit sometimes. Somebody that used to work for Mattel and now doesn't, and claims to have all this insider knowledge. I mean, again, I'm not trying to bash anybody or not trying to talk negative of anybody, but it just seems like it seems like year after year he's been spouting this information, and year after year it just keeps going. And it's just like, well, why? I mean, why even put it out there? And even in his video, he kind of made a mention like, oh, I didn't know I was saying anything new. I thought y'all knew this already. It's like, well, I mean, I know for me, I'm just a regular consumer. I mean, I'm a collector, and I like to kind of be in the know for certain things. But even that was kind of like he may have being a former executive may have insight to like all the financials and kind of the understanding on how the marketplace is and how that operates, but I don't, as a regular as a regular consumer, doesn't. So him kind of saying that kind of did rub me the wrong way. It's like, well, of course, if you just come out and say, oh, hey, Masters of the Universe, Origins, Masterverse, all that's gonna be gone in a few months, of course that's going to cause a pretty groundswell of controversy, or at least people being upset or concerned, like I was like, whoa, what the heck's going on here? And not like, yeah, I should know this already, because I mean, I wouldn't have that any kind of that insider knowledge. I would just be just a regular customer, just wanting to go to Target, Walmart, and to pick up my figures.
Wow.
Ken, how about you?
Okay, so it's one of those things that he's kind of playing off the same trick over and over again. Is he gonna run out of? Is his bag of tricks gonna run dry, and all of a sudden the views don't keep coming anymore? Because that's what he wants, right? It's obvious. Like, I think if he was sitting here, he'd probably go, "Yeah, I want the clicks," right? Like, he just seems like that kind of guy. I've talked to him in real time over on Slaughterhouse's channel around this time last year. Just came across that kind of guy. So if he keeps doing this, eventually people are just going to stop caring, right? Like, there was a time when his reputation was polarizing. So you either loved him or you hated him. Now his reputation is skewed even more negative now. Like, I look at the chat here. I mean, this is a completely unbiased channel. You look at the comments in his own section, it's less divisive and more just, oh, Scott, why are you doing this? Scott, why are you doing this? I think that this trick he's gonna be out of tricks soon. Like, you're looking at the same one trick pony over and over again. I used to work for Mattel. Here's some information. Oh, I was wrong, but that's okay. Origin's gonna end. No, it's not gonna end. Oh, it kept going. It's like, we like the director's commentary on MOTU Classics. Like I always say, thank you for making that line possible. Like, you'll always have a legacy for that, right? If that's the biggest thing you ever did, you'd already be pretty cool in our minds for that. Everything else is like, why do we need this? I don't think we do. So anyway, and some people are saying his bag's now empty. They're seeing it in the chat, right?
I really am, and I've had Scott on the channel a couple times. He's a great guy. Honestly, he really is. He's very open. And one thing that I do want to say is, anybody out there who's really sort of being negative Nancy towards Scott, the reality is he has way more information about the inner workings of the toy industry than any of us ever will. We're all toy fans here. We're all lovers of actual toys, right? But the reality is that someone who's actually been there, someone who's actually created and helped to spearhead one of the biggest Masters of the Universe toy lines that has ever been created, at least for collectors, right? We have to at least give him that respect. We have to at least give him that acknowledgement that
I always thank him for classics, no matter what.
100%. Right? And he was there. He was the one who was pushing for it. And now there's been a lot of there's been a lot of people saying maybe he's just I guess what the kids call salty, about a new line coming out when he created the best line ever, right? but at the same time, is that what he's really doing? You know what I mean? Like he might just be forecasting what he believes to be true. The problem is, it seems like the boy who cried wolf scenario. He said it back in 2020. He said it back in 2021, and now he's saying it in 2022. Now 2023. It seems like that year just keeps getting pushed back and back and back and back, and that I think is where everyone seems to have, his good faith with the community seems to have dwindled a little bit, and I think that's where a lot of people who really did look to him as a source of information are now saying, Scott, you can only cry wolf so many times, and that's unfortunate because he still has a lot more to give to the community, and I think that given the right project, Scott can really spearhead something which would be amazing, and I am wondering that maybe he wants to get back into Master Universe. I wonder if that's something that is possible. Let me ask you guys this, because I don't think this has ever been asked. Do you think that if Scott was to be given back, like for instance, if he went to work for Brian at Super 7, and they somehow were able to negotiate a return of classics, right? Do you think that would be a good idea, or do you think that would be spinning our wheels backwards in the wrong direction? John, what do you think?
Well, as somebody who missed out on classics, unfortunately, I think right off the bat, I would be all for that. But and again, depending on the tooling and how it comes out, I think it could work. I mean, I know some. I mean, I know there. And I guess are you meaning more of line of as far as like the like price point, the way Super 7 is? Because
Well, I mean, realistically, I think that, as you said, I missed out on it. Like, and now they're unobtainable. They're unobtainable.
Yeah.
They're unobtainable. I personally would be advocating for a re-release, much the same way they did with Thundercats, where the first 4 figures had to be re-released in order to continue the line from the start, right? Because Super 7 picked up the line from that. So I would be an advocate of actually reissuing. I need a freaking Classics Grayskull. I don't have one. I got this gigantic behemoth of a freaking mountain here, and it's got nothing to fight with. You know what I mean? Like, I need. So I'm literally like, we have to start a petition, guys, for Revolution's Grayskull, if anything, because if I can't have a Classics Grayskull, I at least need a Revelations Grayskull, and season 2 of Revolutions is coming. Make no mistake about that. But John, go finish your point, please.
No, I mean, and to your, I mean, to that point is the fact that, yeah, I mean, because I missed out on it, I would love to see, even if it's a re-release, because where I'm at here in the in DFW in Dallas, there is a toy shop here at Dallas Vintage Toys, and they had a huge assortment of classics that came in from a collector, and I mean, oh my gosh, like, I mean, some were fair price, but some of them were like a He-Man Skeletor, like both of them, $199 a piece. So right there, $400 just to get the He-Man Skeletor. Because I was going down that route of possibly going with getting classics, just getting like the core, characters from classics. But at that price point, I couldn't do it. And then I saw the way Masterverse, the way Mattel was coming out with them. I mean, I know this isn't a good example because of the head, but I mean, they
Ramen
really
toy soon.
Yep. And they really they've been doing a good job. But I think if it eventually went back to Super 7, or and they started remaking them, or even just doing like you said, a re-release, I think that would be really, really, for me it'd be fun. I mean, go to actually get at a fair price point, be able to get a couple of classics figures, and then to that certain extent, I'm trying to see if I can pull the trigger on a classics Grayskull this year. So we'll see if that. It would suck if I did get it, and then Mattel announces, oh, here's a Masterverse, scaled Grayskull. Like, so I'm hoping that they do come out with a some Masterverse. Either I'm fine with either Snake Mountain or a Grayskull as far as that size of a scale for it.
Ken.
So the question was, I believe, how would we feel if all of a sudden he showed up at Super 7 and they relaunched classics, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there, because if I have learned something from watching Scott older videos, back when he was new and it was like, ooh, we got this toy industry insider who's giving us some information, form factor. That's not possible. A return to classics is most likely not possible with Masterverse around, because they largely fill the same gap in that 6.5, almost 7-inch scale style of figure that is basically homaging the original toys / cartoon. So I don't think it's possible as long as Masterverse exists. So if it did happen, that would tell me Masterverse is over and it went to Super 7. That's what that would tell me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers the question, dodges it, or what. But if I have learned something from his channel, form factor is a big key. And Masterverse and Classics fill the same gap of form factor.
Well, this is all theoretical. Okay, this is all theoretical. Basically, what I'm trying to say is just to answer your question, and maybe then you can answer the more directly. If, for example, he's right, and Masterverse is going to go down, is going to leave shelves, Origin is going to leave shelves, and the Netflix version is going to leave shelves, then all of a sudden there's an opportunity for him to head over to Brian and say, Brian, I can make a miracle happen for you right now. We can go to Mattel right now, pick up the license, and pick up exactly where you left off, and maybe even reissue everything that I did back in 2010.
You might want double joint, because Sergeant Slaughterhouse brought up a good point, and Go Figure did as well in the chat, that Classics has a bit outdated articulation. You're going to want some double jointed on some of that stuff. I totally forgot.
You say that, but Super 7 has been sitting on that mold for 10, almost 20, almost 12 years, and they're still selling it. They're still selling that damn mold. You just bought 3 of them.
I just bought the Lion-O. I just bought the Lion-O.
You just bought a whole bunch of Thundercats. They're all based off of the original mold from freaking.
Oh my God, my Lion-O's right there. I showed it to you, and I showed it to you and Adam.
Nice try, but you just bought them. Okay, and they're still using it. They're using it in the wrestling figures. They're using it in their their Silverhawks figures. They're not going to drop that damn mold because it makes them too much money. Because it's the same freaking mold that they've used for 10 years. They're not going to double joint anything. Okay, Super 7 is sticking to that mold until they die, right? So it is viable, right? And on that note, now that I've literally thrown you under the bus, what are your thoughts there, Ken? By the way, I'm taking your belt from you. Uh-oh, here he goes. Here he goes.
Come and get it.
Oh.
Could he add anything that would change the Super 7? The biggest thing. Oh, there we go. Even better. John's got a whole belt collection.
Where is it, John? Where is it?
It's behind him.
Oh my
and he's got I see the winged eagle, I see the white IC title someone said I should have, and I see the big gold and the network logo belt.
Oh my,
the PG era belt. So
I'm in the wrong chat right now. I'm not numbered. I am
in any case, and there's a comment in the chat there from Go Figure as well. Do they really need Scott? He was the brand manager. Do they need brand management right now? Because from what I can tell, Super 7's problem isn't the management of the brand. It's getting the stuff out. It's the manufacturing on time. Yes, COVID stymied this a little bit, but they're still behind on G.I. Joe Super 7 stuff. They're a little bit behind on, or maybe a lot behind on Thundercats. I love that comment, Heart Foundation. So I don't think Scott's going to move the needle from that perspective unless he's got, amazing factory contacts that he's allowed to use, because those contacts would either be with Mattel or Jada Toys or whoever he worked with. So I don't know what he would bring just from an outsider's perspective, right? Maybe he shows up there tomorrow and I'm proven wrong, right? But what would he add in that scenario, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, and you know what, Sergeant Slaughter's house. Zazel. I know exactly what you're saying. The problem.
That's where I saw the comment.
Yes, I know, but the reality is they're still selling. You see what I'm trying to say? Like I'm all in. I'm all in on. He's dropped the mic. Ken has dropped the mic. I'm all in on Thundercats. You know what I mean? Like the truth is, This mold is classic. You know what I mean? This is a classic freaking mold, right? Sure, there are pins. These are gone, thank God. Okay,
yeah.
Like those have gone the way of the dodo, thank goodness, right? But honestly, this is an incredible mold, and so many people are clamoring for it, right? And I'm wondering, and here's my question. Here's my question to you guys: is it at all possible that that someone like Scott could actually make this happen again, where they actually add in new technology into classics, and get an Origins relaunch very similar to the success that they had with that. I mean, that's crazy. Like, I put it to you. I'm going to throw it back to you, Ken. What are your thoughts on that? Is there something that Scott can actually bring back to the industry on that level?
First, you might want to read a super chat that's missed there.
No, I'll get to it. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Because I checked my phone and I missed your question. Other than Scott's going to add something to the industry, because I was reading something that said the real Intercontinental title is yellow, and I got distracted, and it was from somebody called the Warrior. Sorry, you're saying what could he add to the industry? In
No.
perspective?
What I was saying was that if he could he do something like Origins, where he
Okay.
relaunches the brand with possibly new articulation into the classics. Make them like that.
I don't. If he did, then maybe more power to him. Like he would have to, like, who would he do it with? Like, are we still using the Super 7 theory, or just anywhere?
Screw it. Let's talk McFarlane then. Can he work with McFarlane, who we know pumps out toys like absolutely nobody's business, probably because he produces them in Canada, so they're dirt cheap. But basically, is there any chance of a resurgence for Master Universe classics? With anybody. I'm not even talking about Scott. I'm talking about everyone wants classics back. Is there enough of a fan base out there to warrant a return to classics? And I'll let you think about that, Ken. I think John was listening.
No, I have some thoughts, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, it would be nice. I mean, to have that kind of brought back. But I think, again, to your point, Ken, I mean, that's just more power to him as far as if he's able to do something like that.
All right, Ken. Here you go, buddy.
I go back to the fact that if you're the master license holder for Masters of the Universe, do you want Masterverse and Classics in the same scale, similar enough style, similar enough, like, it's not like one is releasing 2000X figures or CGI figures and the other one's releasing the old Filmation style and old toys that were around during the Filmation time. Oh, Rodimus Primal's here. That's cool. I love your videos, by the way. And I just got distracted. Okay, back on track. I think that no, it's just cool because when I make Transformer videos, a lot of times that's whose videos I'm kind of like, ooh, I hope it's as good as this guy. Anyway, what up, buddy? So as long as Masterverse is on the market, I don't think Classics comes back. If somehow they come back at the same time, I'd be like, wow, that's crazy. The only way they would do that, I think, is if Mattel had it and they wanted an extra peg at retail, like another SKU. The way Jeremy Padower explained it when he had AEW Unrivaled and AEW Unmatched, they were basically the same line. One had a pack of trading cards in it, but then they had the same packaging, and one had a logo that said Unmatched, one said Unrivaled. And you can see Transformers doing the same thing. Legacy, Studio 86, right? Just to get extra pegs and extra SKUs and extra branding and extra marketing out there. That's the only way I could see them coexisting, and it would have to be both under Mattel, or both under McFarlane, or both under whoever. Does that make sense? It made sense. I read your lips, but you're muted.
Blah 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 blah. Yeah, sorry, that tends to happen because I'm coughing like there's nobody's business. Give me 1 second, guys. It makes sense. It makes sense. The reality is you can't go backwards. Although, and this is the thing though, Origin successfully did somewhat go backwards, but they added new articulation to make it, for the 2020s, right, and it's up to today, and that's something I think we have to consider, because so many people want classics back. It's just ridiculous. I think a market still is viable. Rodimus Primal is in the house. Good to see him, my friend. I had no intention of stirring the pot any further with him, but Scott had to be called out for his misinformation. So I don't know if you were here earlier, Rodis, but I did mention that even YouTubers whose channels are not Masters of the Universe centric, like yourself, which is primarily a Transformers channel, have decided to chime in on this, and it's actually interesting because something's up when other channels outside of the periphery are actually, talking about this kind of stuff. So, this is something that I think the debate will continue on and on and on. And it's interesting that so many people have decided to put their hat in the ring. The super chat, which I did want to highlight. Sorry about that. Where is it?
Red Foreman super chat.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Where did it go? Oh my God, it's so far back. Wait,
And killing the rest, I do smell sometimes. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm good.
Red Foreman, right?
Yes.
All right, Red Foreman. Thank you for the Thank you for the $5 super chat, my friend. If MOTU is stalled out in retail, but selling out quickly on Mattel Creations, maybe it's just a question of focusing on collectors. But is that enough? So I'm not exactly sure where I heard this, and I'm probably wrong or misquoting it. But I believe at San Diego Comic-Con, Mattel did say that they were trying to see if they could switch focus over to an online only model for adult collectibles. Okay, and I think that they've been steadily trying to do that with their Barbie brand. If we were to head over to oh gosh, what happened there? If we were to head over to I had another slide coming, but if we were to head over to MattelCreations.com right now, these are all exclusive products which they only sell on Mattel Creations through their Club Barbie and Club Hot Wheels. And man, is it absolutely crazy! Brave Barnstormer Barbie. We have the Chinese New Year Barbie. Hey, we have Raw's War again. Again, why is that
Nice?
And of course, we have the Frogmonger, right? And guys, get ready. 1 day, 16 hours. But then check this out, guys. Ultimate Treasure Hunt, Hot Wheels Super Treasure. Do you guys know how much this costs? This thing is absolutely ridiculous. I didn't realize just how much this would be. $400 Canadian, guys.
Wow.
$400 Canadian for Hot Wheels. And again, the shipping the conversion calculator on Mattel Creations is broken because that should be nowhere near $400. It's $250 US. This is what I'm talking about, guys. And I've always said this multiple times. If Mattel was to drop every other single line that they had except for Hot Wheels and Barbie, they would be A-okay. They would have no problems whatsoever. These two properties have been their bread and butter for the last 40 years. I mean, plus 40 years. There's just no denying that that Barbie and Hot Wheels will continue to sustain Mattel far, far, far into the future. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous. But yeah, the question of online, retail, is it viable, guys? Is it something that we can do? Do you guys, where do you guys shop? Do you guys shop in store or do you guys shop online? John.
Mixture of both. Depends on what I'm looking for. A lot of times I'll just go to, like this past week I went to Target because they did the whole restocking up there. So I went up there. I saw Frosta. I saw Too Bad. I saw the Source Evil Lynn. I got a bazooka, Tiger Force bazooka, only one that was left on there. So
good choice.
Yeah. So, but a lot of times I'll go on Big Bad Toy Store or Entertainment Earth for something like that. It's just not attainable in the store or even at a aftermarket toy shop. It can get kind of pricey. So, kind of mixture of both. Preferably, I would love to get stuff in the store, but it's just like I've been wanting to get a Crimson Guard the Crimson Guard troopers for a while, and it's just like I cannot find them anywhere. And then Big Bad threw them up there, had them in stock, so I was like, got them. Just picked up 2 of them on there. So it's just a matter of just just whatever I can find, at that time. So, and that's at a decent amount price.
And Ken, how about yourself?
Combination of both, right? Like, I got this in store, but I'll probably get the Doc Brown online. And then as for the whole, can it survive online alone? Well, classics did. And I think Scott made the comment before that they were frequently under the MOQ, minimum order quantity at times. I think with a factory the size the Mattel would use, I think their MOQ would probably be a little higher in order to reach a certain price point. So they can survive in fan channels only. I mean, wasn't Serpentor sold basically on nothing but fan channel and then went to GameStop later? Like, I think the demand is there. It might result in prices being a bit higher because they're probably only going to release it for fan channels. So they have to go with, a lower order quantity. So I think it can absolutely can survive on fan channels alone, but there could be consequences to it, right? They might say, okay, if it doesn't sell X amount within a couple years, and that's a good point there about the misinfo about the entertainment rights. While it's on screen, I'll just point that out. Read that comment, people in the chat. But if you're not going to be at big box retail, you know, the people like the corporate powers at Mattel might suddenly say, okay, if it doesn't sell X amount of profit by a certain time, we're going to pull it after 2 years or something like that. Like that, then you get into that risk. I'm speculating, but it makes sense in my head. Does that work?
It does, and you know what? If you know, Rodimus, if you want to jump in, you know, because I know that the only reason I'm asking is because you did chime in on this, and again, you're mostly a Transformers, you know, channel, and I'm curious to find your your idea of what happened today. If you want to PM me on Instagram, or MegaJ Retro on Instagram, please let me know, because I would definitely love to hear your insights on this if you have time. If not, that's okay too. But you know what, guys, this is just going to be a hot button topic for quite some time. Let's take a look at the chat, because there are a lot of people.
There's so many.
It's just
that's why I'm a little distracted, because I'm reading the side. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like normally I'm a little sharper than this, Jay. Yeah. So sorry about that.
Dirty Dave is saying all you're doing is feeding the fire, no matter your opinion. I love your stuff, but we know it's bogus. So why give him more attention? It's not about giving anybody attention. The community. So Dirty Dave, the reality is I couldn't ignore it. I was not going to do a video yesterday. I was not going to do a live stream. I was not going to do a video, but I got inundated, and every single person in the MOTU community got inundated with what the heck is going on with these guys. That was what actually happened. We were all inundated with like, what's really going on? Is this for real? Right? Because people were just scared. People were frightened. They don't want, and it's obvious now that they don't want this to go away. JT Brunick says, it hit a nerve because he claimed something completely untrue. Don't reward behavior like that. But we don't know that yet, GT. The truth is, he is, you know, he has sources. He says he's cited sources. But you know, guys, do you think his sources are real? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, without knowing more information, more context about who his sources even could be, like they're obviously big box retail sources, right? But they could have simply said, we delisted that wave. We're changing the SKUs or something to that effect, right? We're going to order less. We're not going to order the next wave. And then he took it, ran with it, right? He could have taken a partial slice of information. He could be watching this right now. Right? I don't know. Like, I think he could be taking a slice of information and extrapolated it into a video.
John, any thoughts, or you just not?
I mean, it's very possible, and that's what I was thinking too. Maybe they're just not going to carry the next wave, or they're just going to like restock, or just kind of, okay, we're going to pull off all the He-Man Skeletors that are on the shelves right now, and then just focus on the new wave. Because I was actually surprised when I did go to Target this week, because normally my Target's pretty behind as far as getting the new stuff, and I was like in shock when I went in there and I saw Roboto and like that. The current, I think it's Wave 7 that's currently out, and just saw all that on the pegs. So that was really that was really surprising. So maybe it was something along those lines, but who knows at this point.
Yeah, it's just it's all at the end of the day, it's you know, for many other things, it's all just speculation on everybody's part, really. Space Cowboy says, I agree that there's no reason to there's not a good reason to level to any personal attacks. Okay, hold on, we got something going here. What's happening? Oh, hey, Rodimus Primal just give me 1 second, guys.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good.
You're good.
Give me 1 second.
I just sent him an Instagram follow as well. So
yeah. So, but Space Call was right. There's no reason to stoop down to a level of personal attacks against Scott, despite how strongly toy lovers and collectors might disagree with them. It's all a matter of opinion and perspective. We do have to be civil about this, guys, and that was one of the things that I found kind of off-putting on the last stream, and I had to address it twice, and that really kind of was you know, sad. We're all adults here. No matter which way we color this, we're all adults here. Like, we should not be, stooping down to, oh, he's stupid, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. No, this is not a playground, guys. We are a bunch of adults here, and this is exactly what Space Cowboy is saying. Let's just be civil about this. William Randall, I don't think Scott knows what he's talking about with this. I think his sources were Doomcock and Mike Zero. I don't know who those guys are, but if you talk about doomsday people who are talking about conspiracies, maybe that's what he's talking about. Nolan, what's going on, brother? Only time will tell. Either way, I'm going to enjoy it while I got it. Exactly. That's a really good way to look at it. Why not enjoy it while it's here? That is excellent. Thank you, Nolan. Odin01. They just revealed a figure based on arm and head from the vintage sticker that doesn't really feel like struggling to me. There's the thing. There have been so many recent announcements of figures that have been coming out. I mean, Frogmonger is about to go on sale. We know that Snake Mountain is coming, right? The Skeleton Warriors were just leaked. Same thing with some more Snake Men 3-packs. It's just so strange that 4-packs. Sorry, 4-packs. It's just so strange. Why would you release an army builder if you do not intend to keep building that army? It's just crazy. Cora Burlett. Yes, please give us a Queen Marlena, a Dodora, and any in the line of in any line, and Catra, Andra, and a bunch of missing Princess of Power characters in Origins. Yes, they could revert back to Princess of Power, but then we get into this problem with rights, right? Because there is some sort, and Rodimus Primal can probably talk about it a little bit more, because he mentioned it in his video that there's something up with the rights for DreamWorks or something like that. I think it was Universal, something along those lines. What do you guys think about that, by the way? The fact that another company actually has the rights to Princess of Power. Like, have you guys seen the new Princess of Power? Because I did not even watch it.
I didn't.
I didn't either. No,
I watched the Netflix anime-ish one a few years ago, like most of one season. I didn't finish it. It's different. It's a different style. I was glad to see it back in some form of media, right? I was like, okay, this is neat, and then after a while, I just didn't keep going with it. That's all.
Yeah, to me, the designs were not, they just did not jive with me. They were very Flash animation. I'm not really I don't dig Flash animation. I like the traditional cell drawn animation, and that's really why I didn't watch it. I just didn't feel it was that strong in terms of the overall appeal. FFP says, my targets have reset and nothing has changed. The same amount of space is allocated, and all new figs from both lines are there. And this is probably one of the things where he's drawing his conclusions from, and it's something that we do have to acknowledge. Red Foreman, $5 super chat. Thank you again, my friend. I really appreciate it. Hey Jay, look closely at Frogmonger's new torso and web feet. They look like a vintage Modulock. Pretty suspect. If we get a Modulock, that would be amazing. Like, honestly, I would totally. And we're setting up for it. We have the legs of Montana. Apparently, the torso of Modulock. Right? Like, I think I think he's coming. I think that Modulock is probably coming. Did you have Modulock as a kid, John?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think that was because I got into the line pretty much. Well, I was born in '82, so I'm the same age as He-Man, 40. But it was like my brother started. He got started with it, and I think when the Filmation cartoon came out, it was kind of like, okay, this is maybe a little too kiddie because he's about 9 years older than me. So I kind of pretty much picked it up and ran with it. And by 84, 85, I was full on, just gung. I had like all the first couple of waves that my brother had, and then just everything else after that. The only thing I couldn't get was Eternia, and I begged my dad to get me an Eternia, so that never happened. But yeah, I had all the Horde figures and just all the and Modulock and everything. So it was pretty. I had a pretty extensive collection.
That's awesome, brother. Well, Ken seems to have ducked out for a minute. As Ezra Grun, Jay, I have all the confidence in the world that you'll handle this debate masterfully. We're not really debating it. There's no real debate here. We are just commenting on Scott's latest video, and it really did seem unusual. It really was an unusual take on what we thought was going to be an answer to what he was going to say, but it really wasn't. Chaz the Guru, I just got into Masterverse. Say it isn't so. I know Chaz. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, check out Chaz's Instagram. He's a great meme expert. It's so funny. It's just hilarious looking at his memes.
And he's a guru as well.
And he is a guru. Apparently he is. I didn't know that. No, is he really? I didn't know that. Pat of the Sharingan. Scott seems to be the only person I know who's a collector like us who thinks corporate is like being a retail investor after working at an investment bank. Honestly, I am so not into the corporate culture. Have you guys had any dealings with corporate entities? I don't know if either of you have.
Yeah, pretty much my whole professional life. Not something I bring up in public space because corporate has its benefits and it has its quirks. And depending on your mood that day, the benefits either matter or the quirks bug you. That's about it. It's about as vague as I can be.
And yourself, John? No?
Well, yeah, I mean, I work in IT, but yeah, it's in the corporate industry and for a retailer. So yeah, I get a lot of, being in IT and being for a retail company, it is stressful. And it's just, yeah, the whole corporate, I'm glad because now I'm working remote, working from home since the pandemic. So if not, then it would have been, I was getting kind of pretty worn out and kind of burnt out. But I think since being able to work from home, it's kind of took a lot of that corporate, feel kind of just kind of loose, made it less stressful, kind of just made it a little bit more, can work a lot better. So.
Absolutely. All right, guys, joining us right now is a surprise guest, but I want everyone to help us welcome Rodimus Primal to the stream. What's going on, Rodimus? How are you today?
Megatron says hi.
Oh yeah, great figure, man.
I need my Transformer collection behind me if this guy's gonna be here. So let me see if the downstairs area is free.
We'll let Ken duck out for a little bit, but
oh no, I'm still here. It's just
yeah. No
didn't know I was gonna meet Rodimus Primal today. Let's get this guy to 100,000 subscribers. Getting pretty close.
So close.
That's so awesome.
Sorry, it's the first time we've connected, so I'm a little bit like, hey, this is kind of cool. Pretty happy.
Yeah, this whole thing, like, I didn't really want to like become like this big name in the hat, like with everything going on. And hey, what's going on, Melbourne in the comments and everybody else. It's like one of those things where you hear this guy talking and you're like, what are you talking about here? Like, it doesn't make any sense that the line is canceled, because everyone's saying like, they've shown us a whole bunch of stuff that's supposed to be like through 2023 and what have you. And the other big thing that really, I didn't quite understand was, how is he going to say that Mattel has sold away all of the rights to Masters of the Universe? They sold the entertainment rights. And that was back in the Filmation days. And that was more so with the whole He-Man cartoon. And that was why I think the Mike Young Productions had to go through what it went through in order to make the cartoon, but the toys were fully, who was it? Are fully Mattel. You finally built your Menasor. I have, notice I got Dragstrip back there. I only have Dead End, Wild Rider, and Dragstrip. I don't have Breakdown, obviously, yet.
Most of us are still waiting for Breakdown.
And I have not found Motormaster. As soon as I had gotten the money to get him, he sold out. And then I saw him in stock and went around looking. The only place that I found Motormaster recently is at the Universal Studios store for $150, like in the gift shop for the Transformers ride, which my kids love the Transformers ride. So it's like, we always have to ride it every time we go to Universal. So now that I'm in Florida, I can go and visit there all the time.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. So you know what, Supersonic Station is a little bit miffed, but here's the thing. OMG, stop bashing YouTuber for one video. This is bullyish. I don't like this. We're not bullying anybody.
I don't want to. That's why I even said I don't want to bully him.
We're not bullying.
That's
anybody.
what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't want to bully the guy. I'm just like, you're saying like that you're not. You're saying he's making statements of fact that are not true. And mind you that like I'll be the first one to tell you I like Masters of the Universe, and I've collected Masters of the Universe when I was a kid. I went to the He-Man and She-Ra Power Tour, but that doesn't make me like a Masters of the Universe like aficionado, but if I'm going to be, if I'm going to try and give you guys information, I want to tell you the truth, and I think that's important.
Yeah, and you know what? Yesterday I had to bring it up twice. I had to bring it up twice because a lot of people, and even in the comment section afterwards, a lot of people are like, I've lost respect for you. Why are you making fun of Scott? None of us are making fun of Scott. None of us are making fun of Scott. We are reacting to a video which he made,
Right.
and we are all fans of Master Universe. And the reality is, we wouldn't have been inundated with this many comments and have to do these videos if it wasn't for the fact that the community loves Master Universe so much that everybody's up in arms about this topic.
Right.
And that seems to be the biggest problem. So we're not ganging up on Scott. And I'm more than happy to have Scott on and give his Scott a story. But I'm not gonna lie, the reason I did this video is because his response was weird. He gave us a really weird response. I mean, you know what, Rodimus, did you see the response video? Like, let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah, I did. I actually watched it because Lyle Convoy did a live stream. I think it was last night. I was at the dinner with my family, and just to answer that, I'll answer that in a moment. But yeah, and so he put that out, and then people were commenting on his live stream that Scott had did another video, and it was saying he's going to eat crow. And I'm like, why would you say that? Make it like a statement of fact, and then turn around and go, yeah, if I'm wrong, I'll eat crow. That kind of goes off a little fishy, don't you think? That doesn't sound right. And he also, the other thing is that in his video, he targeted another YouTuber, and that's where.
Oh, just very quickly with one clip, right?
I know about the beef, but the thing is
yeah.
If you want to try and make a statement of fact like that, and then you want to sit there often like bash another YouTuber, he's the only I don't like to attack another YouTuber. I don't I wouldn't go up. I would rather if there's entertainment folks like Kevin Smith with the fiction for mass, for the Netflix cartoon and the things that he said and the things that that kind of stuff. I would rather go out, I would rather the corporations and the entertainment people hear our plight about the show and the toy line and that kind of thing than to go off and somebody else who's currently right now, if you think about it, he's just another fan like us. Okay, yeah, he used to work for Mattel, but he's just another fan like us.
Absolutely.
He's coming off with statements of fact as if he knows. Where is his receipts? That's the real kicker. Oh, I have a memo from these sources, and I go, okay, so then please tell us your sources. Where are your sources? You don't know where your sources are. The one person I know who said that they had a source was directly from Target with their planogram. That's different. The planogram for Target is different. That's to say, that Target might not be stocking as much. They might not be stocking as much Masters of the Universe right now.
Yeah.
They did the same thing for Marvel Legends, right? Marvel Legends, they kind of basically stopped carrying them for a little while, and then they brought them back. Why? Because people wanted more Marvel Legends, and Target realized the demand. Target's really harsh when it comes down to shelf space because Target and Walmart were never prepared for Toys R Us to go out of business.
Yeah, this is actually true.
That's really what had ended up happening. So, and if you want to and let me just go back 2 other questions. Yes, the reason why I say going after Kevin Smith was because of the things he said about Masters of the Universe Revelation when he attacked a YouTuber. And he said, "Oh no, the show is completely about He-Man," and then he baited switches in the cartoon. And then you sit there and you scratch your head and you go, "It's not." And then the second part of that show just killed it for me. Really, really, really killed it for me. Because of how did Evil Lynn walk out of that without getting arrested for basically doing what she did. She basically destroys Evan. Like, what kind of like storytelling is that? And as far as the Menasor thing and other combiners, because they wanted me to change, they want me to talk Transformers.
I want you to talk Transformers. The other
I would
room's
love
not
to
free, by the way.
switch gears
Or
and
I'd have
talk
some Transformers behind me.
It's all good. We'll entertain we'll entertain a few questions.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So when it comes down to Transformers, like the combiners, I want them to make good combiners. Period. Like Menasor, they're trying to make the animation model. So
yeah,
which is great. Like to have a Menasor that actually does that, and you know he's one awesome combiner. But I would like the aerial bots to look good.
And there's the upgrade kit, the DNA combiner upgrade kit. I think that's out there for Menasor as well right now. To make them a bit taller. To make them a bit taller. So
yeah.
But even so, like I mean, the whole Prime Wars trilogy of figures, like they're basically redoing combiners a little bit by little bit. Like they're starting with Menasor, and then they can maybe do others. And just instead of making them all combine with each other and be interchangeable, let's just make them one good combiner. That's I think Hasbro's way about looking at it.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of funny that people are saying like Scott is laughing at us, at all of us, like an '80s villain, and. The thing is I would rather he just be truthful and like, hey, I used to work in this industry. This is what I think. I've been talking to other people. This is what I think. That would be a little bit more truthful. Then we'd put a little bit more behind him, and we wouldn't be like.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And look, a retired athlete still has credibility based on their own experience, right? But there's a big difference between saying, in this scenario, here's what's most likely, and I could be anywhere from 25% true to 95% true, but I'm not in the boardroom right now. I'm sorry, in the case of the athlete.
Like, this is the hard line truth. The line is being canceled. Well,
there you go.
Clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, we said that. We said that a couple times.
We said that a couple times, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you, Red Foreman, for that $5 super chat. By the way, really appreciate that. And of course, Robins, thank you for answering that question. The thing is that, and you know what, that analogy is very good, because when you think about it, you watch Shaq and you watch Barkley, they are always giving their commentary on ESPN, always, right? But the reality is they're not on the floor. They're not the Greek freak. They're not LeBron James. They can extrapolate from experiences like, oh, he's probably going to do this play, and this play, and this play, and all of a sudden he turned it on his head and it does something completely different.
Well, that's just it, right? Like Barkley can say, oh, I've had a similar injury, or someone on the starting lineup of the Suns when I was playing there had a similar injury, is probably going to be out for 3 months. The guy comes back in 2 months. Well, you were still kind of right, but he can't say this is the exact thing going on. I've seen the MRI from the doctor. I know the playbook backstage because the coach will do exactly this. No, right? Yeah. He doesn't know the exact playbook. He can read trends, and he's an industry expert. He could be an expert witness on the stand, but he wasn't there when the decision was made. So.
That's right. And the thing is, like, he could have, like, he might like have heard some things, but from people, but they may only be giving him pieces of information, like, oh, well, or because to say but both Origins and Masterverse are canceled, that doesn't add up. Because and correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know from what I've heard, Mattel specifically has been speaking positively of both Origins or just Masters of the Universe in general, in being positive for their financials speaking.
Yes.
And we're right now, like, I hate to say it, we are in a recession, no matter what anybody says.
Yes. As a matter of fact, if you follow the history of this brand, when it was first launched, it won an award for being best toy at a showcase in New York. I believe that it actually won. Scott actually brought this up. It actually won an award. Yep. And then afterwards, when the whole kidult concept came up in that article, they cited the idea that Mattel's numbers are hugely up because of adult collectors. And what are adult collectors buying in the Mattel brands these days? It's Masters of the Universe, right? I mean, like I said, Barbie's always been there. Same thing with Hot Wheels, and adult collectors are in there. But the reason why the numbers are up is because of the resurgence of older brands which have popped up. By the way, I want to say hi to Ostradamus Toys for popping in. Good to
Waiting
see you, Oz.
patiently. Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
moderating. I really appreciate that.
I gotta go soon, so I'll tag out with Astradamus in a couple minutes if I suddenly drop out of the stream. But it was nice.
Appreciate that, Ken.
Well,
always appreciate your insights. Ramen Toys in the house.
Gotta stay
Emerald,
around for at least a sec.
yeah. Emerald
Okay.
Knight says, "Nice mondo you have there. Thank you for helping out on sending those figures. Cheers. Really appreciate that.
He's expensive.
Yeah, John, really appreciate that.
Yes.
So you know what, guys, this is just a hot button topic right now,
Yeah.
and I want to read it one more time because you know what, there seems to be a misunderstanding here. Whenever a bunch of content creators come to really give their opinion on something, we're not attacking anybody. We're here. It's an open forum. And when somebody puts out a blanket statement, which really has affected so many people in the community, we're not gonna stay quiet about that. We're gonna give our 2 cents. And again, I said multiple times, I didn't want to talk about this. But everybody and their mother wanted me to say something, so I can't ignore everybody. That would be disingenuous of anybody. And the fact that, as I said before, other channels like Rodimus had felt strongly about it enough to say something. There is a conversation to be had here, and we are perfectly happy to have Scott back on. If Scott calls me right now, if Scott messages me, Scott, if you want to come on, message me right now. We will definitely be talking now. But the reality is, I think his statement today. You know what? Let's just go around one more time. Oz, let me ask you, what did you think of today's video? Because as I was when I woke up this morning, I really had it gobsmacked me. It just kind of gobsmacked me. What were your thoughts, Oz?
I woke up rather late this morning, and I got to say, overall, I've kind of I stopped following Scott a while ago as far as getting his notifications because I got a little tired of the hate spew he was doing on anything Origins and non-classics related. Like Ken, I still like the director commentary he does on the classics. I think it's awesome that he puts that information out there. And I've watched some of his other videos too, because I actually enjoy that whole hieroglyphics thing he does, like doodling with a purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool content, and his insights on the business overall are very good. But I gotta, we're here talking about it again. We talked about it last night. Well, not last night, but the night before last night, kind of whatever. I don't know. My sleep schedule.
It actually technically was yesterday morning.
Yeah, yesterday morning at 1 a.m. we were talking about it. So, it's just one of these things where we're talking about him, and that's what he wants. So what better way to, people have talked about it for a few days. Now they say they're not going to talk about it anymore. So I'll post something else for them to talk about. And once again, here we all are talking about Scott.
That's actually a really good point. The video was so weird and really off the overall topic that no, and this is not ego. This is not trying to beat somebody up, but is Scott looking? Because honestly, and I'll put it this way one more time, just so that the air is clear. Scott has done one thing during this entire debacle. That's a debacle. During this entire thing, this entire 4 days that this has been happening, Scott has done one thing. He's brought attention back to Master of the Universe, and so many people have reaffirmed their love of this brand. So if Scott has done anything, he really has put a blip back on Master of the Universe. And make no mistake, Mattel watches this stuff. They have social media gurus who watch this stuff, and if there's enough attention brought to this, it might just re-energize the brand. Having said that, the actual question I have is this something that Scott intentionally did to bring attention to this and help the brand, or do you guys feel that he did this because he knew it was the right timing to actually get back into the game, if you will? And again, this is not about Scott particularly, but it's just a question that we do have to ask ourselves. We'll get back to Snell World. We'll definitely get to your question in a second. I just want to hear what the panel has to say on that on this. You guys don't have to answer, by the way, if you don't want to.
It's a loaded question to begin with. Right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But I mean, Oz has just basically put it out there. Like, I'm not gonna-
basically,
Well,
he's kind of coming out with it for almost for like a little bit of attention, like to draw more traffic to his channel in a way. I mean, all of us, every YouTuber wants to get more traffic to their comment, to their videos. And what better way to do it than to be negative about something? And it's like, not all of us want to be negative, And sometimes when you make a blanket statement like that, like you even bring out the people who don't want to be negative at all, like myself. Like I rarely want to be negative about stuff. You know what I mean? Like this is one of those cases where I'm actually saying something, and that's saying something. You know,
100%, and that's exactly why you're here, because you're making an opinion. I don't know, John. Do you want to talk? Do you want to put in a comment, or you're gonna?
No, I mean, I kind of going back what I said earlier. I think it was more or less he possibly may have done it with good intentions. Possibly, maybe he does have some insight to it. Who knows? I don't want to sit here. I'm not trying to bash anybody. We're not trying to talk negative about anybody. So maybe he does have some information. It could be or misinformation, and was just trying to just put it out there, and then maybe give him the benefit of the doubt.
Like you're saying, I think you're trying to say that people are trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just, and then he saw the upswell of all the criticism. He's like, well, let me put something out there. But then it came off as really, like he was making a joke of it, especially at the end of at the end. It's like let's focus on let's not fight amongst ourselves. The fight is with Prussia, and I'm like, what? It was almost like a record scratch. It was like, what? Where'd that come from?
That was just weird. And he did a record scratch right at the end.
Yep.
If you actually waited around, because the screen went black a couple times, but if you waited around right to the end, it was like whoop. I'm like, what the heck?
Yep.
Right? It was almost a drop mic situation. All right, Ken, I know you got to get going, but did you want to chime in on this? Or
look, there's a content creator I watch out there for Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon stuff. I love his content for that. A lot of his other videos, he talks about world politics, Canadian politics. I don't watch those. In the case of Scott, it almost has to be like that a little bit. The difference is he's not completely changing topics. He's completely changing subtopics within the same genre of interest. So it's hard to look away, right? Because but that's almost like how you have to follow him if you choose to follow him in my mind. If that made any sense at all. It's like the director's commentary, good stuff, right? Some of the lore of Masters of the Universe, good stuff. Some of the very, very basics on what he learned when he was in the industry, in the big toy industry with Mattel, Jada, all those places. Very good stuff. Some of this more controversial stuff, it's hard to avoid. But if it was branded differently, if it had a completely different title every single time, it'd be easier not to click on it and not have these conversations. And as we have these conversations, there's no bullying or anything involved. Yeah. I've said it like 5 times since Friday night. I'm so grateful we got classics, and the fact that he was a part of that and that he fought for the fan when that came out. Mighty Spector figures be damned, and whatever it is, we are so grateful for that. And when I look at the classics line, I'll always have a level of thanks for that. This is like having a chat with people at the coffee table, having a beer with friends. If we could all be sitting here having dinner, we'd be having this exact same conversation, right? And we just haven't been able to do it on the internet.
Here's the reality. He will eventually be right. He will eventually be right. And you know what? I actually dare say he might be right about it ending at retail. All right. He might actually be right. But he was very careful not to talk about fan channels. He was very careful not to talk about Mattel Creations. He was very careful not to talk about anything else. And that is one of those things where it seems as if he made this video intentionally to try and get a little bit more traffic. But we will never know. Truthfully, we will never know. And we're not attacking Scott. Like, let that be perfectly clear. I would love to have Scott on one more time. Right now, though, it's probably best if he, just stays a little bit quiet right now. That's just my opinion, right? I think for Scott, I think he should just lay low a little bit for a while until we find out a little bit more.
For wrestling analogies, he's Eric Bischoff. Controversy creates cash. Somebody said it in the chat, not me. We all know I was thinking it. We all know, like I was probably was on my face right there. It's like Ken's gonna make a wrestling analogy. Then somebody said it. I'm like, thank you.
And on that note, when the opening broadcast for WCW would tell you what was happening on Raw, like right now we've got such and such happening right now.
And that's kind of what he's doing, right? He's like, this is what's happening, but you got to flip to that other channel to
Right.
find out. And in this case, that other channel is 3 months away for a potential
Honestly,
extended
I wonder if his sources are more on the, like, because he seemed to focus on Target, not just Walmart, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if his sources are more like Mattel reps specific to Target.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we don't know. We don't know because he didn't.
He didn't.
And I don't want to sit here and like conjecture and sit there and like speculate, because I mean, I'll even say like I got some information wrong when I made my video on my second channel. Was, oh hey, you know, like I kind of see you, you know, around the same time, because he was brand manager. What was it, 2008?
8 to 14
to 14,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, I looked at, you know, I was like kind of speaking a little bit broadly about it, like, you know, when he was, but then kind of like when he says things. So I was wrong about like the 2000X, but I'll own up to that. If I make a mistake, I'll own up to it. I'll say, hey, I made a mistake.
You can always pin like I've done it before. You pin a comment at the top
comment
of the
and
feed.
say, hey, I was wrong about this particular date. You
Yeah.
know, or if I in
Absolutely,
post when I'm editing a video, I'll put it up on the video or whatever. Like if I misspoke, I've done that before. Where I did a news video and I'm like, I'm not re-recording this. Like, let me just put it up on there that I misspoke here.
Yeah, a small
yeah.
retraction is it. Ken, before you get going, I just wanted to do this really quickly, because I do always value your opinion, and I think you're gonna get a kick out of this, guys. I want to bring up this image because I think it really surmises a lot of what a lot of us were thinking. You know, this is just awesome. Seriously, this is just incredible. Incredible.
Yes.
You know, doing a bit of flexing here, guys. Doing a bit of flexing.
This is the WrestleMania 5 pose down between Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior.
And I think this is what we all really want.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? We all want these properties to survive, and in some form or another, they will survive. I mean, Super 7 has the license for Thundercats. It survived. Once upon a time, they had the license for a Master Universe, and they, you know, and again, Rodimus did talk about this: $75 a pop, getting up to that, right? But the reality is, people are still going to buy these things, right? We as adults have the fandom and the dream to have these. By the way, guys, this is a wonderful photo from my special guest here, Emerald Knight Photos. Guys, definitely follow him on Instagram. We're going to go through a whole bunch of his actual photos. I'm super impressed by you know all the composition, the storytelling here. I mean, in one instance, you know what it is. So Ken had to drop off, probably had an emergency. Thanks, Ken, for being here. Awesome stuff.
Yep.
You know what, John, walk us through this. What were you thinking when you put this together? Because this was absolutely amazing.
Pretty much once sometimes I just get the ideas, you know, in my head, and this is a crossover I always wanted as a kid. I know there was a couple comics that came out with, you know, I think from DC, I think they came out with it. But it was just an idea I had. I just figured it was just something that, you know, because I know these characters so well. It's like I knew like the fact that they were. I kind of played with the idea of both Lion-O and He-Man, kind of like are the same, you know, as far as their alter egos being, or Lion-O had to grow up, you know, early. You know, he had to you know, he was I think he was you know, as a little,
he was like
child,
12
yeah,
13.
and then he got bigger when they landed on Third Earth, and then He-Man, same thing. He was, you know, I always envisioned. That's one thing I did like about the 2000X and even Revelation, where He-Man is a little bit like younger. He's not just a carbon copy, you know, Prince Adam, you know, without a tan. And so the idea of being like they were actually young at heart, and this is something they would probably do if they were, you know, with each other. Like, oh, let's just have a pose down. Who actually is the, you know, who has the more muscles? Just that idea. And Tila, obviously, she'd be the kind that would just be like, oh god, what are these guys doing? It's just like we got to fight Skeletor and Mumra. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like they're just messing around trying to see who has the bigger muscles. So again, just a fun little idea that I had once I had the Super 7 Thundercats in my hands.
They're both in their teens anyway, like, you know, mentally.
True.
Right.
Yeah. Really think about it.
Very,
they're both
very
teenagers.
True.
So one comment I wanted to say, like that I think it was K-Mation, I think, put up to the comment, said like, hey, you know, didn't he say he would eat crow? And like, I think that's why we're saying, like, we want to give him the benefit of the doubt, just for the reason that, hey, you know, you sound like you're making an absolute statement, but why, you know, but then on the flip side to that, why would you say that you would eat crow if you were wrong, if you are not trying to make a blanket, like a statement of fact? Like, no, this is definitely happening, guys. Like, you don't understand, this is definitely happening. And then turn around and make a second video and say, I'll eat crow if I'm wrong. And then make a whole video like that's like, was it like it was like 3 or 4 minutes of just a blank screen with music and sound effects?
Yeah, just weird. Just very, very strange.
Like,
that
comes off really odd, like that he would do that. And I don't want to attack the guy again. I really don't want to attack somebody who's come up, but he okay, great. He was one time a brand manager. That's awesome. You know, how does he feel about Origin's success and Masterverse success? I wonder. You know,
yeah, and you're right, Rodimus, because he, even in the first video, he ended off with, "If I'm wrong, I'll eat crow." It's like he's buffering himself for a fall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like he wants to give himself a safety net, right? By saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm okay, and you know what? It's okay to make fun." And he said that in his follow-up video. It's okay to make fun of me, right? It's almost as if but he did it in such a way that it was so weird, and so that a lot of people took it the wrong way. A lot of people say, "Are you trolling us now? Are you disrespecting us?" And that, I think, is the problem. A lot of people got really kind of miffed at that part.
I think if people are willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, fine. Like, I'm okay with that too. Like, I won't sit there and tell people they have to like believe whatever, or they want to believe him, they don't want to believe him. But he's made statements that just are not. And then the other statement is the entertainment, like getting it wrong with the entertainment rights and the ownership of Mattel. Mattel owns Masters of the Universe. Like, they own it. They created it. They sold entertainment rights. Universal, okay, yes, they do. Like, but that's not like there's truth to his statements, but they seem to be clouded in falsehoods.
The problem I have, if I had a problem, or at least what perplexes me, is the definitive nature of what he says. He does not say that it might end in 2020. He says it will end in 2023. That's a definitive statement.
Yeah.
That's not saying, guys, I just heard a rumor from one of my sources at Target or Walmart, and we're probably not gonna see Masters on the shelves anymore. He literally says, no, don't bother. Go get the clearance items, buy them now, because you'll never see them again. That is a scary thing to say to any collector, and it's too definitive this early in the game to really be saying that. If we start really seeing them disappear from the shelves and something else completely replaces it, then you can definitely call out the idea, yeah, it's done, it's over. But right now, where you still see a whole rack of them like sitting there, it's hard to believe.
The other thing is that, what if he's right but completely wrong?
Yeah.
Hear me out. What if he's completely right in that Origins and Masterverse are ending, but they're rebranding it?
Exactly. Right. Exactly. That's a really good point.
Then what then it's like, he could sit there and say that he's right there. Like, so I'm just gonna say, like, do I think it's gonna end? I don't think so, because Mattel said they have stuff planned through 2023. You could sit there and say, oh, well, corporations lie all the time. You're a big corporation and you want toys to come out. You have plans for toys to come out. Cancellation, like, the toy industry in 2023 is different than it was in 2014. It's different even way, like in the 80s, it was different too. So it's a different game now. And
absolutely.
We don't, like, for if Mattel is, I will believe that Mattel has plans for plans for the rest of the year. And if we see success out of it, then great. And if not, it was a great run. But I don't believe the statements that are coming from Scott. So
Yeah, and you're absolutely on the ball with rebranding. I mean, like Hasbro is
Does it all the
the
time.
Hasbro's the master of this, right? How many in the last 3 years? I think we've had what we've had
Prime
had
Wars, and
Siege.
then War for
Yeah,
Cybertron, and now
yeah,
we're
we've
in the
had
second
Siege,
year,
War for
going into the
Cybertron.
second year of Legacy.
It's crazy. It's and then we also have Star Wars Black Edition, but we have Star Wars Black Edition retro cards,
Yep.
right? These are two completely different brands, right? This is crazy because this is the 40th anniversary edition, and this is the regular standard. This is actually sorry, not this one, but they're re-releasing the entire Endor line, which they just released last year. It's absolutely crazy. The only new one there is Wicket, and everyone's hunting Wicket right now. It's just absolutely nuts. But they know they can do it because everybody wants the freaking retro cards,
Yep.
right? I think that, and I think you're right, Rodimus. I think Mattel knows what's going on, and if they are looking to extend the line in some format, it's going to be by rebranding to a certain degree. I think you're absolutely right. These guys talk to each other. You know that they're in competition with each other, but they all have lunch together. You know they know what they're doing. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's just weird.
Hasbro.
I mean, you heard
that
Fred.
big time with D&D. That's a whole other ball game.
Honestly, I want to love that. I want to love that brand. I really do. I hope the Tiamat comes out. I hope that they bring Sheila out and stuff like. I really want, but after what happened to Pixel Dan, freaking Tidarium Hanger is in the chat. He got a completely different figure in his his D&D. He got what was it called? It was Bobby, and no, not Bobby. It was Hank. He was supposed to get Hank, but he got Diana. It was absolutely crazy. And by the way, Mike, good to see you. His newest video is really saying it's an April Fool's joke. Is that possible?
I kind of picked up on that too. I mean, the fact that, hey guys, it's only 77 days till April 1st. I kind of thought.
Wait, did he say that?
Yeah. He even
did
showed.
say that, didn't
Yeah.
he? Oh my god.
Yeah, even had a picture of the calendar.
That.
And I was like, wait a minute. Is that is he trying to pull a joke on us now, or like
he's gonna pull off a 3-month troll?
That is screwed up.
He's gonna pull off a 3-month troll.
Why not?
Tidarium Hanger, you got. you might be on point right now.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't put it past him, as Jay said. He's intelligent enough.
What is Oz? You were about to say something, but before we.
I was just saying, like, he's smart enough to know that what he puts out there, people are going to watch, people are going to listen, because he has his air of credibility about him from being an ex-employee. He knows people are going to listen in and they're going to take it to heart. But the truth is, none of us actually know. And again, Fred from Mattel was here yesterday morning, and he told us, like, these guys are definitely having lunch. They're all eating Taco Bell, farting it up in the factory, apparently. But like, I just don't see Masters of the Universe going anywhere right now, because it's still hot, fresh off the 40th anniversary of the brand itself. And we're going into the year that Filmation came out with the cartoon that is so beloved by so many. This would not be a year to cancel. I mean, we could see history repeat itself, and by 2027 we'll be like, closing the doors on Masters of the Universe for like another 40 years. That's a possibility.
And that's probably when the movie comes out too.
At the rate they're going with it, it's probably going to be there. Yeah. I don't know. They're supposed to start filming in April. Oh, wait, that's another thing that's happening in April with it. But we'll see. Jay says it best. He'll believe it when he sees it.
Yeah, I will believe it when I see it. Like basically, they've been teasing that movie for forever in advance. It's never ever come true. I'll believe
they've been teasing that longer than the death of MOTU.
It's either they've been teasing it or their main actor drops out. Like it's just absolutely ridiculous.
What did Zarak say in the Rebirth? We shall see.
We shall see.
That's right. We shall see.
And you know what? Skeletor did say at the very end of the movie, "I'll be back," but he still hasn't made that prediction come true.
Yeah.
Did you just pick that one up, Rodimus? Did you just pick that one up, Rodimus, or is it you have?
I had it before. No, I had gotten it. What was it? I'm trying to remember exactly when I got it, but I've had it in the package, like waiting for me to open and I finally opened it because I was like, I've got to finally open up my Transformers like that I've gotten the past couple months. Because after I moved here to Florida, I was like, I got to do something. Like I want to be able to enjoy some of these action figures because like moving was a stressful thing. We I left New Jersey and coming down here to Florida, so very, very different way of life. So
crazy. Yeah,
Florida is bizarre.
There's no winter anymore. Basically,
it's 40 degrees outside down here. So
really?
it's winter. This is what they call Florida winters, where it's cold.
That's about as cold as it gets.
But it's not as cold as it like got in Jersey. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm seeing people that like are dressed in, like that I know who still live down, up there, are going through what they're going through. So
yeah, I'll take sweater weather any day. Trust me.
Yeah, it's definitely sweater weather.
Oh wow, holy crap! Huge friend of the channel, Mitchell Bennett. Good to see you, brother. What up, y'all? My friend bought me a Roton for a belated Christmas gift today. Cheered me up a little. Bennett, again, our thoughts and prayers are with you, brother. I hope you and the family are doing well. Your dad, he was your hero, brother. So we're all thinking about you, man. So thank you again for the $5 super chat, dude. You don't have to, but thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really want to go and admire a few more of.
Let's do that. Let's swing gears a little bit and start talking.
Let's not beat up Scott anymore because that's not what we're doing. But let's talk about more. What we're really here for as a collectors. We're here to really admire cool stuff. So, John, you got some amazing things. 19,000 likes in 2022. Some of your greatest collections here. I love your work, man. Is some of this real, or is it all just plastic foliage that you pick up here and there?
One of those is a backdrop with a company called Diorama Prints. Make really nice backdrops that I can use for my photos. And then, some of it's just like the plastic stuff you can get like Michael's and Hobby Lobby. And then those the trees that your curse is on. Actually, I made those out of just paper towel rolls, paper
Really?
mache. Yeah.
Get out of town.
Yeah. And so
I love the depth of field. It looks really cool. I don't know. Like when you put these things in, is there a story in your head? Like, do you have an idea?
It could be something simple like this. I was thinking, 'cause I hadn't done too much of She-Ra, so I was like, well, let me get some She-Ra shots out there. And so I just thought, let me do a picture, a photo of her and He-Man and something like I put in my pose. It's like her telling He-Man, hey, Skeletor's forces are showing up, so we gotta, we gotta head out where we need, reinforcements. And just I want to take a photo, even though we all know that his head's actually in that helmet. I wanted to kind of play around with with Photoshop a little bit. I've been trying to get a little bit more proficient with it and trying to kind of see if I could really hide, like make it look like, you can't tell there's actual like head inside the helmet. But
I totally forgot.
Yeah. I mean, a shot like that was just something I really wanted to kind of put together. And then this was something that it was for a monthly challenge with another YouTuber content creator, Sir Dork, who's a big toy photographer. Does amazing stuff. And it was just basically just making a character float. So that was kind of my little photo I took for that, trying to get more proficient with making digital effects and editing and just making Skeletor look like he's flown in the air. And again, that a lot of times it's just trial and error, and that's why I tell people that get into it. It's just you have to just keep playing around with it. I mean, that's the good thing about shooting on digital is you can kind of just shoot at your will and just keep going and change lights, change your settings, do what you need to do. And then I think I tried different setups to try and get this to work, and it just was not coming. And then I just found the right angle just from cocking my head a certain way. I was like, wait a minute, I think this might work here. And then all the effects and everything kind of just came together. Sometimes by accident, sometimes just by clicking around and just like, oh, I didn't mean to click that, but actually that actually works. So yeah, sometimes it's just luck and then just trial and error.
Yeah, and these are both from the 40th. Are these both SDCC exclusives, or
that's actually the He-Man is the 40th, the retail version, and then that Skeletor is actually the new Eternia Skeletor with the kind of the classic head.
Got you. But is that the head it comes with, or is it?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't think it. I guess it's the way the composition is shot. It looks a little bit different.
And that's kind of what I enjoy too, is making things look a little bit better. I mean, I didn't even do anything really. It's just the lighting and some of the kind of going putting it in Photoshop and Lightroom, kind of just changing the colors a little bit. But again, it's just the head looked fantastic. I mean, up to this point, when I had this figure, or when I got him, he was like my Skeletor figure until the 40th anniversary, the San Diego Comic-Con came out. Now that's my go-to, but he really was my favorite up to that point.
They need to make that a retail release, and I think that's exactly what's going to, like, we need these things to happen.
Well, on Instagram, I don't know if you saw, but Masters, their official Instagram posted that it's going to be a celebration all this whole year.
Yeah,
So
that's the other thing about that, right? Like, by the way, guys, if you haven't already, definitely go check out John Mejia's Instagram page, Instagram.com/emerald_night_photos. You guys are gonna love his stuff, seriously. And if we take a look at Masters, this is another indicator. Again, we don't want to come back here too fast, but here's another indicator. Every month, I Skeletor will release a challenge to my minions. I mean, fans, and later share my favorites. Consider this year a full-scale celebration. I mean, seriously, let's be honest. They're doing too much to reinforce this brand. It's getting kind of crazy, and I don't know. This is just nuts. Like, seriously. And you're right. Like, what more can we extrapolate from that? I mean, like, if Mattel keeps saying that they're gonna have more celebrations in 2023, and I believe somebody actually asked Mattel on their Twitter page if there was any truth to the rumor, and they said, if I'm not mistaken, Masters actually replied back and saying that Masters is not going anywhere in 2023. I think that's actually what they said, and it really gives credence to what Rodimus is saying. That unfortunately, we don't know what's going to happen, and it just seems as if he's just trying to do something with. I don't know.
It could be a 3-month troll.
So
that turret, maybe. I'm a butcher in his name, but Turium Hanger is right. Like, it's a 3-month troll. April 70. 70 days away. Yeah, and then April 2nd, you're gonna say, "Oh, gotcha, April Fools."
Yeah. By the way,
if Mike does that, all I'm gonna say is, "Ha ha." And then at that point, I wonder if people are going to turn around and say, like, we're not watching you anymore.
It's such a risk for him.
Yeah,
it really is.
And you wonder. But then again, you get people who go, "That was hilarious. I'll continue watching you." You don't know. You don't know. And I'm not not to dunk. We don't want to dunk anymore. We want to talk about this awesome freaking figure. I'm going to say this right now. If you are a fan of Beast Wars at all in any way, shape, or form, this dragon is incredible. This thing rocks.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I am. My son was running around the house earlier with this figure, and so like I was sitting there going like, "Oh man, I got to figure out what to." But just the dragon mode alone, it's so awesome. Like, to have a fully transforming dragon Megatron, and I wish it was the T-Rex, the first Transmetal one. But then again, this dragon is awesome. I would even say it's better in a lot of ways even than the original. And the original had some gimmicks, but this one has just the posability on it is just fantastic. So yeah, Transmetal 2 Megatron from Transformers Legacy, and I think it's still on the store shelves. So, but oh wait, hold on a second. This is Beast Wars. Aren't I a G1er?
It's true,
right? Aren't I a G1er, and I only like G1? And I'm sitting there talking about how awesome this Beast Wars figure is.
You're always going to get your harsher critics whenever that comes out. That's just the way it is. That's the way the internet is, Rodimus. That's just the way the internet is. Robert Monti, thank you, my friend, for the $5 super chat. You're amazing. I'm totally on the Joy Toy Warhammer 40K train. Wow. They recently released Grey Knights and are absolutely amazing. Check them out if you haven't. Now, is that the McFarlane 40K? Please let us know, Robert. But thank you so much for that $5 super chat. That's incredible. You know what's funny about that Transmetal? He's still got his face butt, right? I mean, like, it's still.
Oh yeah. where the tail is, right? Yeah. That goes to show you. Actually, if you think about it, because where his face is facing, it's his cojones.
Oh my god!
Oh, it makes it like so much worse.
I wasn't going to go there. I was not going to.
It more so says how big is his ego.
Exactly, that's true, right? But you could always just say he's compensating for something. Oh, too soon.
It's Transmetal 2 Megatron, but it's also, remember, G1 Megatron Spark is also inside as well.
Ah, that's true. Yeah.
At least until they beat him and they put his Spark back in place, which that is not a continuity error. They even said that was something that was done, and it was even done in an animatic. So, man, it's just
crazy. Mitchell, Hot Rod was my favorite Transformer. You know what? Hot Rod gets too much flack. I don't think there was anything that anyone could have done.
This guy right here?
Yeah.
Studio Series 86 Hot Rod.
There it is.
Let me pull him back, because you probably noticed I got Toy Hacks labels on him. I also painted his knees orange, and I painted the sides here magenta, and this part here the darker orange. I should have tried to mix the orange paint a little bit more, but I tried getting the elbows, but the elbows didn't stay put. But the Toy Hacks labels fixed a lot of the rest of the problems I had with the figure. But he just, like, this figure is awesome.
He
I got Kingdom. Oh yeah, and I got King. You probably noticed I got Kingdom Rodimus up there, and right behind him is Victory Leo, or Victory Saber, as his stand.
Oh wow!
And if you know what that JoJo reference, right? Rodimus Prime is pointing like Jotaro, awesome. And that's Star Platinum, basically.
That is awesome. Wow. Yep. I was not expecting a JoJo reference today. That's crazy. Oz. We got a JoJo reference today. It's crazy.
Yep. Hey, man. It don't happen often.
Oh, dude. He's doing he does the star finger. He does it's just crazy stuff. He's a mini masterpiece figure, that Rodimus. Sorry, that Hot Rod. Yeah. Like, it's just crazy, the kind of articulation and everything he's got. Like, the transformation alone is just insane. Just crazy.
Rodimus Prime also doesn't get as much credit as people are willing to give him, because think about this: he led Cybertron on an Autobot controlled Cybertron completely. Like, the Decepticons had control in the movie. And Optimus was trying to gain the forces together to make a full-scale assault. On top of that, Autobot City was designed to produce Energon using our natural resources with solar and wind and hydroelectric power. That is what Autobot City was built for. But when Rodimus Prime took over, he had Cybertron under his under complete Autobot control. He had Earth under his protection with, specifically Autobot City was rebuilt. They still had the Ark. Yes, mind you, the Quintessons were just a much bigger threat. But Cybertron was holding intergalactic peace conferences. They were trying to build generators in order to revitalize the planet. The thing is that he had his doubts because he had so much responsibility. He had more, I would argue, like, Optimus was a wartime commander. And he had 9 million years of experience, but he had so much doubt and then yes, the doubt as a character, that's anything us as adults go through. Think about this. Like, have you ever been in management before?
I have. Yep. I ran a store for 10 years just about, so.
And let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought of quitting?
I second guess myself every day.
Every day, right? Every day. And have you ever second guessed yourself when you had an employee who wasn't up, like was not matching up to what you wanted them to do, or you're trying to train, or were you compared to your previous like the manager who you took their place of. Like there was a manager in the store, and then when you first start, everyone's comparing you to that previous lead, manager.
Yep.
And it's like, guys, I can't be him. I got to be me. Like, and that was Rodimus Prime. But at the same time, it's like, and no, he did not turn into a Winnebago. Look up the GM Bison. I'm serious. The GM Bison's the 1967 World's Fair GM Bison. It is a vehicle that was supposed to be the turbine-powered truck of the future. And that is what they based the design on Rodimus Prime's truck mode off of. If you watch season 3, there are a lot of different Transformers out there with, with trucks that look like Rodimus Prime, like, and on Earth. So that's what 1986 thought the future was going to be. And let's bring up another one. The turbine-powered truck, the Shockwave, which looked like Energon Rodimus, was actually that was the vehicle that Energon Rodimus used as an alternate mode. So if you look up Energon Rodimus in like around 2004, he turns into that truck with like the rocket pack in the back is a turbine-powered truck, because basically they updated Rodimus's vehicle to actually match the real world. Whereas that's what Rodimus Prime was supposed to be in 2000, in 1986, the original G1 toy. So that's what his truck mode is supposed to be, a turbine-powered, futuristic-looking truck. So am I getting third? I don't really collect like third-party stuff, but so yeah, that's my rant there as far as like his alternate mode and his leadership. And then also the other thing is that Hot Rod was trying to do the right thing.
He was
trying to do the right thing.
There's a say there. If you're watching the latest seasons of the Clone Wars, the last seasons of the Clone Wars, as well as even the Bad Batch right now, if anybody's actually watching those right now, there are a couple of things which are overlying concepts. One of the things is Bo-Katan, when she finally gets the opportunity to lead Mandalore, she actually says very, very clearly, she said, you know what, I never realized how hard peace really is, right? Because peace is something which you really have to hold on to.
Yep.
Being at war, it's easy to know who your enemy is, right? You know exactly who to shoot at, you know exactly what to do. During peace, people are coming at you from all sides trying to take your position,
yep.
right? They're trying to take over your planet. And that's something that Bo-Katan realized after the fact. That's why she believes that she's no longer a leader. And even in the Bad Batch, Hunter, right in the first season, he says it was just a lot easier being a soldier, right? Now that I have a family to take care of, right? It is hard because he's got to watch out for his people, and that's what Rodimus had to do. Rodimus had to pick up where a leader like Optimus Prime had been fighting millions of years for peace, and finally they got it. And they got somebody who wasn't Optimus. He was always going to get the short end of the stick, in terms of people judging him. I mean, even we can laugh at this all the time, but you know what? I always say this: Ultra-Magnus is my favorite Transformer of all time. People make fun of me for that, for Hell and High Heaven, but the reality is, he made the sacrifice which he thought was the best. True, he wasn't able to make the decisions that needed to be made at the time that they were making it, but you're talking about saving, the leadership of who he was versus two Autobots. He couldn't deal with that. Honestly, they were gone. They were already dead. Like seriously, he had to.
I can't deal with that now.
He can't deal with that.
Also, here's a little bit of trivia for you. First draft of the movie that was actually written before the first episode aired.
Wow, really?
Ultra Magnus, the design for Ultra Magnus was a different design. It was actually what Orion Pax ended up being.
Wow.
And I'll answer that in a moment. And Ultra Magnus died and was dead. Like Galvatron killed him on Junk, and he was not revived. and Hasbro was not happy that you wrote a story with a character, a brand new character, and he didn't stay, you know, and he's dead. They killed they killed off Blur too. And so like when they did the revision for, you know, the second draft, which was made in March of '85, or it was submitted in March of '85. So Ron Friedman had to go back and basically, you know, fix that, but they did draft after draft after draft after that. But yeah, you're right. Rodimus was like the leader, and he needed someone like Ultra Magnus to actually be like his, like, you know, Ultra Magnus felt the best as second in command, not in command.
True.
And this is not to say that Ultra Magnus was bad at that. Ultra Magnus knew and understood his, like, that he was better to be a fully, like a full duty, you know, his faithfully dutiful soldier. I'm trying to get the words together.
Yeah.
You know, and he felt most comfortable there. So I mean, Ultra Magnus said it, which is why I can't deal with that now. You know, yes, that was like a Blur dead, but they ended up sticking with him living. Clearly, he was not, because it was more than one Autobot that got killed when Galvatron attacked on Jump.
Yeah.
So that first draft, and also there is some crazy stuff in that first draft, like crazy stuff. And the only, like, it was weird that the new characters got killed and not the existing ones. Then they went, oh wait, we got to kill off the old toy line.
There's always the conundrum.
The answer to that one question about the Threezo, you know, figures and stuff. I think those are those like highly super detailed like action figures, right? The Unimetals, you know, Ultimetals. If I could afford them, like that would be nice to have as a display piece, but I have to take into consideration. Magnus was Rodimus' Alpha Trion. That's a good way to look at it. But I mean, it would be hard, like, because it's hard enough. Like right now, I have a very small display there behind me, because, you know, my office is a little bit different than the one that I had in Jersey. So, but it would be cool to have something like this guy's got. His those are some phenomenal photos.
They're absolutely incredible. And you know what, John, I just wanted to go over a couple more of these before we start winding down. This composition is absolutely great. Are your backgrounds purchased, or do you build them yourself?
Oh no, well, it's a combination, but yeah, I purchased a good majority of them from a company called Extreme Sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because it kind of goes back to, you know, me being a kid, because I remember making my own, you know, like using boxes to kind of create play sets. I mean, I didn't have Eternia, so okay, I'll just make it myself. I'll just draw on a cardboard box and, you know, draw it on there. Before I got the Ghostbuster Firehouse, I always had this big box to kind of, you know, pretend that that's what it was. And that's all, essentially that's all these are, just, you know, just cardboard pieces that you can, you know, you can fold and, you know, put together to make it, you know, into a, you know, 3-dimensional, you know, looking. And yeah, I mean, they're a little bit pricey, but I mean, I think they're well worth it. I mean, it gives photos a lot of depth and a lot more punch to it, as far as, like, you know, when you're trying to develop a like an action scene, or just want to get a real good photo.
I love these two because they're horror-esque, but at the same time they really harken to something. I love the fact that you're you know, you have these crossover ideas too. Like, this is just crazy. I mean, like, wow. Is that a photograph in the background there?
Yeah, it's a printout. It's just a print backdrop.
Just love the atmosphere. And again, it's such a wonderful piece of storytelling. Like, this is just hilarious. Oh my gosh, like, that's funny as heck. Is this Photoshop?
Yeah, I was able to put a smile on his face.
Yeah, I was curious about that, because I was looking. I was like, he doesn't come with that head.
He should. I mean, because Ned. I mean, he
should. That's what I was saying. He's so stoic, and Ned's a really happy guy, right? And I just love the atmosphere you put into these. The lighting is crazy. Like, do you have a crazy lighting rig, or is it just pretty much simple lighting?
I got
one of my faves.
couple of assortment of lights that I use. And my background before I became a manager in IT was I wanted to really be in the filmmaking and kind of creative industry. So
This is one of my favorites here, man. This is hilarious.
yeah, that's another Photoshop smile, because again, He-Man is just that's just classic He-Man. He's got to
It
be
is.
smiling.
And that's one of the things I think is a shame. But you know what? There are customizers out there who are picking up on this.
Yep.
Can you tell us about these two heads?
It's from Hordak MX on if I get that right, or MDX on Instagram. He makes
Yeah.
custom heads and does a really good job. I got 2 of those from him because me personally, I wasn't too impressed with the Revelation He-Man head that came with that came out. So yeah, once I saw his work, I was like, hey, how much is it, and can I get 2 of them?
Absolutely.
He does more than just heads, isn't that right, John? Because I've seen a lot of his stuff.
He does quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple different things, but I think right now, I mean, because of the head controversy that that's going on, that's his bread and butter. I think right now is doing
Absolutely.
making
That
custom
head,
heads.
I'm not a big fan of that head on that He-Man.
Nobody is.
No one.
No.
Like, you pull that
Oh,
hair
it
off,
does
you
not
paint
look
him
like
green, and he looks like Shrek.
I tried to do what I could to kind of make it, somewhat presentable. So
Honestly, this looks great. Seriously, John, you made miracles out of what would normally be just plain looking figures, and these Diamond
Just
Select ones,
another
like,
good one.
wow, just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
again, huge tip of the hat to you, John. I love the crossing of 2 worlds. You know what I mean? It looks so great, just incredible. Yeah. So guys, we are going to wind down today. But I really want to thank all of my special guests for being here and surprise guests. Rodimus, thank you so much for being here today, man. I really appreciate it. But I want to reiterate one more time, guys. This was never an attack on Scott Knightlick. I have nothing but respect for Scott Knightlick. I think we all do. We all have at least the respect that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to, corporate, ideas for the toy industry. No one has better knowledge than he does. His knowledge, though, may be out of date. We just have to accept that reality. And I welcome Scott. I welcome Scott to come on the channel, as he always has. Again, whenever he feels that he would like to come and talk, I welcome that. I want to find out what's going on. Like, if he has sources and he can talk about them, I would welcome that 100%. But you know what? Time will tell. And honestly, here's the thing: he might be right. There is ever so much the possibility that eventually, again, a broken clock is right twice. Rodimus said it. A broken clock is right twice a day, and one day he will be right. So we have to respect him for that. Guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Guys, Oz, how can people reach you on the interwebs, my friend?
Just the usual. Hit me up on IG, find me on Twitter, and of course, go head over to my channel and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's do shows every Saturday night. Ostradamus Toys Live just wrapped up Legion's class this past Saturday, which was a lot of fun. And you can catch me on my buddy Skelevator's channel every Thursday night for Toy Frenzy. It's another toy talk show that we do over there.
Excellent. Guys, please, if you have a chance, head over to Emerald Knight Photos. We've been showcasing all of his work tonight. Incredible photographer, wonderful talent. John, let us know how people can reach you if they want to get in touch with you, please.
Right now, just through IG, just Instagram. Just you can, I mean, again, I just do this as a hobby for fun, something to kind of just, I enjoy collecting. I enjoy being a child of the '80s. I love these figures, and just something I enjoy doing. And I people that do enjoy looking at my photos, I appreciate that. Anybody that follows me and comments and engages with me, I'm always welcome for that. But yeah, it's just Emerald_Knight_photos on IG, and I'm always willing to talk to anybody. If anyone wants to DM me on there and talk to me or ask me questions about my setup, or just anything in regards to photography in general, or just collecting, I'm always there.
Awesome. Thank you again. And guys, definitely head over to Instagram, check out Emerald_Knight_photos. You guys will not regret it. Great stuff here lots of fun. And of course, thank you so much for being here tonight, Rodimus Primal. How can people reach you if they're interested in your channel?
Of course, you can find my channel, Rodimus Primal is my main channel where I normally talk Transformers, do retrospectives, news, reviews, and more, as I say every time. And I have a second channel that's starting to grow, Rodimus Primal Talks, where I try to do, I'm trying to venture out and talk more about outside of the realm of Transformers when I want to, whether it's a video game review or a, He-Man, Godzilla. I would love to talk more about Godzilla.
I'm down.
And whatever, what have you, like anything cool and nerdy. And if it's a rant of any sort, like how 25% of collectors are. But you can find me there. Rodimus Primal Talks is my second channel, and my main channel, Rodimus Primal. On Twitter is at Rodimus Primal, Instagram at Rodimus Primal Show, as well as Facebook. And I think that's it. I don't think I have other social media outside of that. So I do have I think I have a Rumble as well. And the only reason I'm doing that is in case like YouTube goes under, at least I have my videos that are still online. And I'm starting to do I'm building a website like to see if I can put my content on there just in case. So you're muted again.
Sorry about that, guys.
It's all right.
I'm an expert at this. I'm an expert at this.
Sure you are.
Professional.
Take notes, everybody. This is a professional idea. Rodimus, thank you for that, guys. Definitely head over to Rumble and follow Rodimus there as well. I myself also have other channels which I'm looking into. You just never know. And the reason I'm looking into it is because up here in Canada, Bill C-11 is really threatening a lot of us here to which might throw many small creators into obscurity. So if any Canadians out there are here tonight, please check out Bill C-11. Find out what that means to smaller creators on YouTube, and definitely contact your member of parliament and anybody who you can to try and see if they will push that back a little bit more. It would really help us all out here on the YouTube community here in Canada. Just before we log off, I really want to thank all of my Patreon and channel member supporters: Princess Cagali, Old IT Guy, Ken33, Joseph Michaels, Gamer Bud, Maniac Classic Toy Shop, Jordan from Canada, Nolan, Mitchell Bennett, Randall Guzig, Schwartzmat, Snell's World, Skyfall, MF Toys Canada, Palpatine 1975, Darth Kumar, Smoked Ham, Kevin Herbert, Ephraim Rivera, Rufus Rogers, Nolan again, because there are two of them, John Joker, Sir Clifton, Terrence St. John, and Osterman's Toys. Guys, you are the best. Thank you so much for always supporting the channel. Guys, the Patreons of this page, as well as the channel members, really help me to make wonderful episodes every single week, and you guys are the best. Please consider checking out my Patreon page, guys. It's MegaJ Retro on Patreon. And of course, if anybody here, please follow each and every one of these guys on their social medias and their channels. Support them on their Patreon pages. Everybody here needs your support, especially now. And again, guys, it's not necessary, but if you are in the position, it really does make all the difference for us trying to make content for you. Again, we do this for the love of it, but every little bit counts. So thank you guys so much. Guys, thank you so much.
The emojis.
Yeah, do it for the emojis. Exactly. Thank you so much.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, until next time, till all
are one. Thanks. And of course, guys, thank you so much for being here. We all appreciate it. Good journey, everybody. Geek proud.